Hello and welcome to another Autistic in Hindsight video. My name is Jess, and I am haggard. At age 30, I discovered content about being an overlooked, high-functioning, in quotes, autistic girl, and had a profound connection with that lived experience as being exactly my own. I am currently self-diagnosed and sharing my journey and realization and seeking professional assessment. As it's currently mid-December, the holidays are upon us, and I'm getting lots of content from neurodivergent creators offering affirmations and tips on how to get through family gatherings. Lots of survival guides. And as great as I think these videos are, and I hope they find their intended audience, they haven't been very applicable to me and what I go through, or am currently going through, with the holidays. I can relate to all of that anxiety that comes with socializing during obligatory gatherings and the exhaustion of performance and masking when opening presents, but up until recent years, the toll of those things was fairly minimal as an only child with no friends or closely age-related nearby relatives. It was just me and my mom for Christmas. My dad was there but not very present. Pun. And there were just the few drop-in guests that were my aunts and uncles. Of course, there were some school exchanges and a dinner here and there with my ex's family, a couple work events throughout my life. Me and my partner now, Z, spent our first couple Christmases isolated due to travel distance and COVID, so I had ample time to get comfortable with his immediate family before our first formal in-person gathering, and it was a couple years more still before I was expected to meet the extended family. My biggest struggle with the holidays is, yes, that bigger, yearly extended family gathering that I am now expected to attend, but that's its whole own thing. So, what I'm actually dealing with right now, going into this Christmas, given my recent revelations, is I'm struggling to be happy while around anyone else. I've been a recluse for a while. Some might say my whole life. To clarify, a recluse is the same as being a hermit, but without the potential religious alignments to the term, like how hermits back in medieval days secluded for special reasons or whatever. Aside from circumstances of when I've had to, like for school or work, I rarely choose to go outside. Currently, I usually go a week at a time without even stepping a foot outside the door, which is sad, considering it's just forest out there. It's not like I'm stepping out into a city sidewalk and going to be immediately accosted by friendly greetings of fellow pedestrians, but days just kind of slip away from me before I realize the last time that I've touched sun or fresh air. The only times I leave the house is at max, probably bi-weekly, when I have to go do some errands. And the thing about this is that not only am I pretty geographically isolated in the boonies with no license or car or will to leave, but on the day-to-day, I'm also physically squirreled away in the shadows and corners of the house I live in, which, to be clear, is preferable. I want to be in my little basement room. It helps regulate me. I run into other housemates every day and give greetings, but I only spend any extended time and conversation with my partner because he doesn't drain me. It's effortless. But there's another layer to this self-isolation that I haven't addressed until recently, and it's that not being around other people helps with my mental health. Not just because masking is so taxing, but because being around other people causes the inherent comparative which my brain functions on to start happening. And unfortunately, my self-worth is pretty garbage. Realizing I'm autistic has not been a comfort to me as much as it's been a consolation for long-awaited answers. I haven't discussed this with the family, and I don't intend on coming out about it this holiday season either, but it has changed how I see myself among the rest of them. I now know that my current life state is not a phase. I'm not just having a rough patch, as elderly relatives may wish to surmise when presented with the year-end catch-up of rotating "how have you beens." What do I have to show for myself? This time of year, during the holidays, it's even more apparent what a failure I am. Even if other people aren't looking at me that way, judging me that hard, I am. If I'm not proud of myself, how the hell are they supposed to even accept me? And I want to be clear in saying these things in such an objective casual way. That this opinion I have of myself is not just tied to one's worth based on a capitalistic mindset. I understand that a human being's worth isn't directly tied to their productivity or ability to earn, but there has to be some metric for calculating that. And I am undoubtedly in the negatives. I am objectively a financial burden to everyone around me. Maybe to others, the debt I'm accumulating is invisible, but I'm keeping track. I've lived on my own and I'm aware of what life costs, even more so than my future parents-in-law are probably capable of calculating and what I cost them. I take up space, I use electricity, I eat their food, and no amount of minimizing my impact to be as little a detriment as possible is enough that I don't owe them more than I could repay if I tried. The money I save on rent alone, being allowed to live here, is more than I could afford to pay if I didn't. So I absolutely definitely can't add that up and just pay it back later somehow. But it's more than just money. It's about what I'm doing with myself in this amazing reprieve where so many of my life's needs and conditions are met. Don't I owe it to them to be flourishing, at the very least? Why am I not a best-selling author yet? Where's my art? Why don't I have enough updoots or followers to have the illusion of justifying the expenditure of resources to maintain and sustain my pathetic existence? Christmas comes around, and not only do I owe them everything, I have nothing to give back. What do you give people that have everything already, that have so much that the best quality of life that I have ever had is fulfilled by their excess, their scraps? And I know what you're thinking. It's the thought that counts. And I used to live by that growing up. I always made people art for Christmas. But that gets old, and you run out of ideas, and people only need so much art, and my skills aren't up to my own standards anymore anyway. So not only do I not have anything good to give, and nothing can come close to equivalent to what I owe, I definitely don't deserve any additional gifts. The guilt of accepting any is so great, and yet I must, because it would be ruder if I didn't, and draw attention even more to my lacking. Other members of this family have been hard up at holidays before. One year, the only thing I think one of them got anyone else was some plastic hangers from Walmart. And I know that's not their fault, but I don't want to be that guy. I can't be that guy. I'm already so much worse. I feel like I don't belong at the table. I'm a pet, not in respect or the regards that other people hold for me, but in how little I contribute. I was hanging out with my partner yesterday and I just started crying about how useless I am. And that's what the holidays bring out in me. Are bringing out in me this year anyway. I'm not even thinking about all of the social anxieties of family gatherings that I usually have to contend with because I don't know how I'm going to have the gall to stand among them in the first place. I don't feel like I deserve Christmas. And I know that's not really how it works, but I don't know how to get through this right now, feeling that way. I wish that love was enough, but it's kind of hard when you hate yourself, you know? If you have any suggestions to help my mentality about this whole thing, feel free to comment below, please and thank you. Sorry. Bye.